Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Tiny Code. In this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to build a better calculator. So in my previous videos, in my previous tutorial, we did build a calculator, but it only took in addition operation. So in this tutorial we're going to build a full calculator which is going to take addition, subtraction, multiplication. It's going to be very exciting. We're going to be building a calculator, a fully functional calculator. So this might seem like a big step for some of you who are totally beginners. I know I promised this course was going to be beginner friendly. I haven't taught you a lot of things, especially control statements, because in this tutorial we're going to be using control statements. So it's going to be using case statement, but I'm going to explain before I do anything. So I'm still going to make a tutorial. I'm going to have a separate tutorial where I'm going to teach you guys if statements, nested if statement, and also switch statement. But for today, just try and follow along and try to understand. I'm willing to answer every question in the comment section. Before I start, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment in the comment section, and also share this video to anyone who you think might be interested in learning C++. And let's get right into it. So to build this calculator, essentially what we need variables for our first number and our second number, and we also need a variable for our operation. So operation, I'm meaning addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. I'm also going to include a user puts incorrect operation, so maybe they input a symbol or a character in space of putting an exact operation. So what we need to do, firstly, we need to declare a variable for our numbers, for our first number and our second number. So they're going to be integers. So we're going to have our num1 and also our num2. So the reason I'm declaring these variables as integers is because I want to keep this as simple as possible. So I actually have to put this into a float. Sometimes the user wants to calculate on decimal values, so later on I'm going to put in float, but for now I'm just going to put it in so that you can see the simple version of a calculator. Because when I put in float, it's going to be more complicated because our modular operator does not work on integers. Continuing, and we need a variable for our operator. So our operator is going to be a character, which means addition, multiplication, and all of that. So we're going to say char, and let's just name this operation, and we're not assigning any value because we want our user to input their own values. So after this, we need to prompt the user to enter numbers and the operator, and we also need to save those inputs. So what we need to do first, we need to prompt the user to input a value. So we're going to say cout, please enter first number. So when I be more specific, enter first number. They're just gonna enter their first number, and we're going to save that first number. So it's going to be num1, and then we're going to prompt the user again to input their operator. So it's going to be please enter operation, please input operation, and the user is going to input their operation, and we're going to save that operation. So it's going to be then we want the user to input their second value. So we're going to say cout and then we receive that value num2, which is num2. So basically what we've done here, we've prompted the user to input their values and also their operation, and we have received that operation. So what's left here is pretty soon. We need to find a way to know what the user has inputted. So we need to find a way to know if the user has input addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So it's either we could use if statement, so we could use nested if statement, or we could use switch case statements. So in this case, I think switch case statements are going to be more effective and possible. So switch case statements, as well as if else statement, are called control statements. They're used when you want to execute a type of code according to a certain condition. So you can use your control statements, for example, if you want to write a code which is going to tell if the learner has passed or not. So you can say maybe if the learner has an average of 50%, they passed, and else, which means if they did not, they have failed. So control statements are very useful, and they can make your coding experience much easier. So in this case, I'm not going to use if else statement. I think I'm gonna put a code which uses if else statement in my description box, or I could put it in my comments, but definitely I'm gonna put the code where we use if else statement in my Facebook page. So if you want, the link is going to be in the description below. It's called tanie_codes. So that's where I'm gonna put in the code where we use if else statement if you don't want to use switch case statement. So don't forget to like that page also. And I also have a group on Facebook. It's called Tiny Coders. I'm also gonna put in that code there. So for now, like I said, you're going to be using switch case statement. Usually on switch case, we use them if the value is going to have more than one outcome. So for example, we're going to switch on our operation. So operation is going to be either an addition, multiplication, division, and also subtraction, and also modular. So in that case, when you see hurry, your operation or your value or your variable can contain more than one outcome or contain more than one situation, then you know that you need to use your switch case statement. So for now, in our operation, there's more than one outcome. So there's more than one situation. So the user can input an addition or subtraction or multiplication. So that's when you know that we need to use our switch case statement. So our switch case syntax is like this: type in switch, and then you're going to have your open and close parentheses. So in the open and close parentheses, that's where you're gonna put in your variable that has more than one situation. So that's the variable that we're gonna switch on. So in this instance, we're gonna switch on our operation. So we're going to say operation inside this open and close bracket. So operation, and then after that, usually you're gonna put in a break. So what a break does, it breaks your switch statement. So for example, if we put in addition and the answer is not addition, it's going to break that and start on a new switch case statement until it finds the right switch case statement to use. And we also have a default. I'm gonna talk about that later on. So let's remove this switch for now, and we're gonna type in case. So our first case, or our first scenario, is going to be where the user inputs a minus or subtraction. So I'm gonna put in minus inside our quotation marks, our single quotation marks. So I'm gonna put in minus, and then I'm gonna put in colons. When I put in colons. So this simply means that if our case or scenario corresponds to this, whatever that we're going to put after the semicolon or after this colon is going to be executed. So like I said, this simply means that if our case subtraction corresponds to whatever the user has inputted, we're going to console out whatever I'm going to put after this colon. We're going to say cout, and then number 1, and then space. So I want to have a space in operation, and then space, and then whatever the user has inputted is the number 2. Then I'm gonna add the equal to sign. So I'm gonna equals to, and then after here, that's when I'm going to actually write what the computer should do. So here I'm just formatting on how it should output. So there's going to be whatever the user's input is the number 1 space, whatever the user's input is their operation space, and whatever the user's inputted is their second number, and equals to. So now I'm going to write actually what the computer should do. So here you just simply say num1 minus num2. So this is our first case, our first scenario. So if the user inputs subtraction as their operation, this block of code is going to be executed, our case 1. So now we have to put in another keyword, which is our break. So our break there for the computer to know that our first case is done. So we've run through our first case, and maybe it was not the right case, or it was. So this just shows how where the first case ends. Done with the first case, we're done with the case where the user inputs a subtraction. Now we need to put in another case. So maybe the user inputs an addition. So we're going to say plus. So this is our case 2. This is our case where the user inputs a plus as their operation, and then we're going to say cout. So technically you're going to say the same thing. So let me just copy these, and then plus. So we're gonna put in an equals to here, and then now we're gonna tell what the computer should actually do. So what mathematical calculation they should do. So it's going to be num1 plus num2. So it's num1 plus num2, and we're gonna break this case. So we break this case. So our next case is when the user has inputted maybe a division. So I'm just gonna actually go ahead and type in everything. I actually went ahead and wrote all our cases. So as you can see, we have our first case, which was subtraction. So we formatted what we want, how we want our code to look, and then here we actually put in what the computer should actually do. And then we have our addition, multiplication, division, and also our modular, and what they actually. So this is our basic calculations. So after this, we're pretty much done. So after we've done all our cases, there's only one case left where the user decides not to put any of these operations here. So they put in another symbol that's not part of this. So that's our default. So to write in our default, we have to say default, okay, default, and then our colons, and cout. So here you can pretty much write anything you want. So you can say maybe invalid operation, or I don't know, anything you want. I'm going to put in invalid operation. So if the user tries and let me put in exclamation mark so that, yes. So if the user inputs an operation that is not part of what I've coded, they're going to receive this text over here. So this warning. So now we're pretty much done with our program, with our calculator app. So let me just quickly go through what we've done. So firstly, we declared our variables num1 and num2, which is the numbers that the user is going to input, and we declared our operations. So we declared a character, since it's going to be plus, minus, like just one character, and then we prompt the user to input all the values, so the first number, the operation, and the second number, and then we stored all the values. And then this code over here, it's system clear. So this just clears the console so that when the user receives the answer, we don't need to see what they've entered before. So this is a very good command, and I like using it, and I recommend you can use it also. And then we have our switch case statement. So I had said we could use if else statements, and we could also use switch case statement. So the if else statement code, I'm gonna put it in my Facebook page, tanie_codes, and then So here we used our switch case statement, so we type in switch, and inside the open and close parentheses we put in the value or the variable that we're going to switch on, so the variable that we're going to check. So we're going to check if it's a subtraction, addition, multiplication, division, or modular. So we put in our operation, which is checking, and our first case is subtraction. So if the user inputs a subtraction as their operation, we're going to input this, so we're going to output this command over here. And if the user inputs addition as their operation, we type in this just like that. And then if the user doesn't input any of these operations, so we get to so we're going to console out this message invalid operation. And I'm having a good thought of putting something else, like literally swearing at this person, because this person probably is trying to hack our hard work. So invalid operation, I don't think it's enough. But then for kids safety, or for PG-13, so we're just going to keep it as an invalid operation and this exclamation mark, so that they know that we mean business. We're done, pretty much we're done. And then we have our system pause, just going to clear our unwanted text. So let's run our beautiful project and see the results. So it says please enter first number, so I'm gonna enter a 9. Please enter operation, so I'm gonna enter an addition. And then please input second value, so our second value is going to be like a 5. And then 5 plus 4 is equals to 14. So you saw that the computer cleared everything that we had inputted first, the instruction and whatever we had previously. So this command, it did that. So let's try and see if the user tries to hack our app. So let's run our project again. Okay, please enter first number, so I'm gonna put in 2. Please enter operation, so maybe the user inputs like this end. And then please enter second value, and then I'm gonna put in a 5. So invalid operation, so we got them. So basically that's how we build an calculator. So I said previously that I'm gonna show you guys how we can build a calculator using the modular and also having float, so having decimal numbers, allowing the user to input decimal numbers. But because this video is long already, I'm gonna make a separate video where I'm going to show you guys how to build a calculator with decimal numbers. Because right now, let me show you guys, if we change this into maybe a float, we're going to get an error. So you see, we're going to get an error on our modular line. The message is saying invalid operands of type float and float to binary operator. We cannot use float in this situation because our modular gives us a reminder of numbers, so it gives us a reminder of whole numbers that we've entered. So since this number here and this number here are of type float instead of int, we cannot calculate or perform this operation. So I'm gonna make a separate video where I'm going to show you guys how you can do that. And so for now, we're just gonna leave this as int, so our user has to input integers only, like that. So that is all for today, guys. In my next video, we're going to start on if else statement, so click that notification bell so that you can be notified when I publish that video. And if you have seen value in this video, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, comment on the comment section, and share this video. Thank you for watching.